So, my ex-husband, later ended up, uh, you know, being conclusively diagnosed as, classic type 2, bipolar. And he left for 6 months and he was on a manic high. Anyway, the rest of the years I knew him, I was the first wife. I was married for 10 years. And then he went on he's on wife number 5 right now. But he never had a period of time where he was like really alone. Where he always was quick to remarry after, the wife ran away in the night, and every single one of them did. Like every single one left him. But here was the thing: every single time, like he would marry, and he later ended up relocating back to where I was living, and the kids, and every time he married, his whole like how he was to deal with as far as like the kids and visitation and whether he paid child support, which mostly wasn't no, like you could see like his whole personality change every time with like every wife. So here my father, or the person who had legally agreed to be my father in court and had me take his name, he suddenly married. And previously, his wife before that, wife number 4, Sherry, every single, like he was just, I don't know, he like she was always like coming up to me every family gathering, like profusely apologizing for how he abused me when I was young and lived at home, which was embarrassing. But she was always, I'm pretty sure, holding him accountable for that. There was a long period of time in their marriage where she would not live in the same home with him and lived across the country, and he had to be a guest in his own home. I think that he was still having like being abusive and having issues, and anyway, she eventually died of cancer. And if this means anything to everyone, like every single wife he had, from Sherry to the first, all had cancer. They say like certain, I don't know, certain types are prone to certain, and like us, like maybe on NFJs, or there's like a certain personality type that has illness, it manifests as autoimmune, and then there's like a different type that's cancer. And I don't know, these are all just theories. But anyway, so he has suddenly like now married, he has remarried, and to say like his whole action towards me completely changed. He actually, after he got that email, he went on a defamation tour, like right then. He called my son, who was visiting for the holidays and was next to me. He was trying to call and say that he decided that I was crazy, that I was lying about the whole sexual assault and everything that happened at the post office, because of course that's what a father does. Now, I'm going to tell you just briefly about who he married. Her name was Susan K. Scoresby, and I'm living my own life prior to them getting married. All these years, I'm focused on my kids on our lives, and I had cut off contact, and I was minding my own peace during all that time. And so I didn't know anything about her or who he married. But like I said, when you've been through enough with somebody switching wives, especially a man who kind of, I mean, he was a true narcissist dominator, but, you know, it had a very interesting effect on him. While he never would have gone on a defamation campaign with me when he was married to Sherry, he never even would have even considered this. He was suddenly trying to call the bishop of my ward. This is an area where he's never lived. He doesn't know anyone, but he's using the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he is trying to call the bishop to tell the bishop I'm crazy. And I will include the text exchanges because the bishop's like, hey, your dad is suddenly trying to call me. And I said, oh, well, that's great. Like, I asked him for help for the first time. I broke contact in all these years. And, you know, now he's trying to control me. And he goes, I'm no dummy. Like, I can see when I'm being manipulated. That was my bishop's response. But I am in my 50s. My father has never showed up for me, has done nothing but be abusive, molested me, made sexual advances to me into my adulthood. Even when I was married, he had suggested we move in together before he had married Sherry. Like, let's just say he had a very strong motive. He had a very strong motive to discredit me. You know, here I am living, 7 hours away from a town. He doesn't even live in Salt Lake City, and he's not willing to even like visit, even if we were to establish contact. But what reason, first of all, what father suddenly calls a daughter a liar? Like, who does that? Did he do that to any of my siblings? No. But he got the flying monkeys and all the members that I'm related to, not through his bloodline, but on my mom's side, there is a cousin, and he had actually been helping me through the whole thing that happened with the post office. And he called me up within hours of sending this email, and he goes, you need to know what your father is saying about you. This was the first time I knew. And he said, he is calling you a liar. He's telling everyone in the family that you are crazy. This is December 2022. And I mentioned in that letter that I suffer from a generalized anxiety disorder, like I always have. And then I finally was diagnosed and started taking medication for ADHD, and that medication changed my life, man. I suddenly could do things I never had been able to do as an adult before. But so to be on an ADHD medication, my psychiatrist, who is managing, I chose a psychiatrist because he manages, they have a degree to understand all drug interactions. And I'll be honest, because of several autoimmunes, there were multiple medications like I was taking, and he was brilliant when it came to interactions.